We'll hold it against him. Oh, he's one.
He's a therapist, okay? And he has stories to tell you. And he and his wife just got, can you hear me? He and his wife just got back from Saudi Arabia. They're going to be home. They live in Utah. They're going to be home for 4 months. Then they're going to, for 18 months, Africa. Yeah. So he's going to be able, and Gina, I guess, right? Going to be able to do some mental health work with some of these kids that go over there and do all these missions. And so, I give you, Mr. Hartman.
Made sense out of this mess. I didn't know why Mike stuck forks in his ear, but I had seen it many times. And they came to see me at a time when their life was in turmoil. And I'll never forget, she just reminded me about it tonight, that she looked at me and said, "How can you teach us anything? You're way too young." And very blunt, very direct. And of course I fell in love with both of them. And I'm always intrigued because I've always told people you should go to a wedding and you should go to a funeral every year just to give you perspective. There's a wonderful perspective that comes from that. But I noticed something tonight, that when you saw the pictures, you saw them on their wedding day. And everybody was dressed to the nines. And then you look at us tonight. We're more like huddled masses. And the magic of this is that they not only lived the promise that they made to each other 50 years ago, but they're so comfortable that they wanted this to be about us and not about them tonight. The wedding is about the couple, and when you've done what they've done so successfully, it's no longer about you, it's about others. And you notice that about them. It's what makes them, I think, remarkably special in my life. I remember when I was working with them, they're so different in their personalities and their style and the perception of life. And they bring such a blend to each other. They remind me of a time when I was visiting Egypt, and I remember seeing these two tangled flowers that rose from the dust. It was truly a godforsaken place that I was in. And I saw this magical life, flowers rising to reach the sun. And in my work as a psychologist, you often get tangled messes. People that don't want to hear what their part is in the relationship. And then you get someone like Dan and Mike Allen who say, whatever we have to do to stretch to become legitimate, we will do. And of course, now you see the legacy of a couple that are willing to do that. And we are all blessed for having traveled this journey with both of you. I usually write down my thoughts, but I did tonight because I just wanted to get it right in terms of what I think of you and how much you mean to me. But I won't read publicly. I don't think that's appropriate. So I'll let them have what I wrote. And I would like to share with you a couple things. One is my favorite childhood book is called Velveteen Rabbit. And for those that know this story, it's a very heartwarming story about toys that are in the children's nursery. And everyone longs to be loved. They want the boy or someone to love them and make them real. And only once you have been loved by somebody are you real. And then once you're real, you cannot not be that. But as with life, many newfangled things come along. They look better, they have buzz, stick-out handles, lots of things that make them exciting. And all you have is the relationship that you once put together with somebody. I'd like to read just a couple pages because this is how I feel about you guys. So the skin horse had lived longer in the nursery than any of the others. He was so old in his brown coat that it was bald in patches and showed the seams underneath, and most of the hairs of his tail had been pulled out to string bead necklaces. He was wise, for he had seen the long succession of mechanical toys arrive to boast and swagger, and by break their mainsprings and pass away. And he knew that they were only toys and would never turn into anything else. It's like, for me, many marriages that are just that, and they'll never turn into what Mike and Ann have created. For nursery magic is very strange and wonderful, and only those playthings that are old and wise and experienced like the skin horse understand all about it. "What is real?" asked the rabbit one day when they were lying side by side near the nursery fender before Nana came to tidy the room. "Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and a stick-out handle?" "Real isn't how you are made," said the Skin Horse. "It's a thing that happens to you. When a child loves you for a really, really long time, not just to play with, but really loves you, then you become real." "Does it hurt?" said the rabbit. "Sometimes," said the Skin Horse, for he was always truthful. "When you are real, you don't mind being hurt." "Does it happen all at once, like being wound up, or bit by bit?" "It doesn't happen all at once," said the Skin Horse. "You become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't often happen to people who break easily, who have sharp edges, or who have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off, and your eyes drop out, and you get loose in the joints, and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly except to people who don't understand." "I suppose you are real," said the rabbit. And then he wished he had not said it, for he thought the Skin Horse might be sensitive, but the Skin Horse only smiled. "The boy's uncle made me real," he said. "That was many years ago. But once you are real, you can't become unreal again. It lasts for always." And I think you know as well as I do that Mike and Ann have created real for always, and it can't not be that way again. And their children have benefited the most. I mean, if anyone benefits, it's those that see them on a daily basis and know what it feels like to see truth. Anyone in any kind of successful relationship knows that there are always deep scars and there are always genuine forgiveness. And those things don't happen to people that are all about themselves or break easily or are more concerned about the world and how they see you. Ann and Mike have always been more concerned about what God thought than what people thought. And so, just in conclusion, I'd like to share something. I'm going to have you play that song. This is, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm sorry my back is to you, but I'm going to tell you this as though I were Joy and Jill, and I had gone away to college, and I had thought back on my parents and what they meant to me. And so they're speaking to Mike and Ann, and this is what they might say, reflecting on what their life had been and how it impacted them. And it's called I Made It Through the Rain. Can you turn up the mic? Dear Mom and Dad, you dreamers have a way of facing the rainy days, the tough times when nobody really understands what you're going through, and somehow through all the pain and the difficulty, you survive. And you kept the feelings of family warm, and you protected us from the outside storm that would have destroyed us before we were old enough to figure life out on our own. And one day our time did arrive and we left. And that day the sun appeared in your lives and dried you out from all the financial difficulties, the fights and the misunderstandings that we gave you. And you came shining through those incredibly lonely, misunderstood years. You made it, Mom. You're the one that always fought to keep the family protected. And you made it, Dad. In that same stodgy point of view, right is right, wrong is wrong. We both went out in life and made it through the difficult times and earned the respect of all the others that had the courage to get together and get rained on and beat up and make it through. So I went away to school and left you behind, and I really wanted to have the life you had. And I found that it was not as easily done as you had made it look. When friends were really hard to find, and life seemed so cruel and unkind, sometimes I would get afraid afraid that perhaps I couldn't put together the life that you had put together for yourselves. But you taught me to think beyond the clouds and rise above the peer pressure. Start my own career, create my own family, have my own kids. And when I chased all my fears away, I found that my greatest fear was I wouldn't do it as well as you did. But then I thought that's why you had me, to give me a chance to create a life for myself like you once created for you. Mom and Dad, I want to go out of my life and I want to make it through the rain. I want to get wet. I don't want an umbrella. I want to fail and get back up again. And Mom, the older I get, the more I want to fight for a family. And Dad, I've got your same stodgy point of view. I want to go out in life and earn the respect of the others who are willing to get rained on and make it through. Thank you for what you gave to all of us.